Okay. Talk again? Hold on 1 second. They're hearing me, but they're not hearing. They didn't hear you, so I got to figure out what the hell. Audio. Okay. Can I get one of you guys to just chat for a second?
Gotta love the technical difficulties that come along with technology.
All right, we got it. We got it. We're up
I
and
hate
running. There we
technology.
go. Okay. All right, we got that fixed. Okay, so like you were just saying, I apologize for the issue there, real quick with the sound. Tyler, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Can you hear us now? Can you just give us a one in the chat if you could hear?
I can't see the chat, so I couldn't tell you.
It's okay. Knowing Sean's the Glock guy, I know he muted me on purpose.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. They could all hear us now. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, those of you that didn't just hear that last couple minutes, Chris that was talking is a police officer in New York. Has over a decade on the job, many years of firearms before that. Is a firearms instructor now, FBI certified, state certified, and we've been talking about this every day basically on how we think the SIG thing is kind of far fetched, and he was kind of just going on with his opinion. We didn't dig into it real quick, but it was just a quick briefing, which I'll have him just do again real quick. He was just showing one of the SIGs that they have and giving his breakdown, and then I'll go back onto it real quick.
Oh man, now I got to repeat what I don't remember what I just said.
That's all right. You won it
Put
good
me on
enough.
the spot about these going off. I do not believe they're going off just random. I don't believe that you're racking one into the chamber, loaded magazine, and that they're going off in lockers. They're not going off in, safes, stuff like that. I do say if there's smoke, there's fire. So with as much scrutiny as these are under, it would kind of be good to get to the bottom whether it is the gun, whether it is handling, but most of the stuff you see is holster related, moving around, probably not the best conditions.
Okay.
I like
So when you say holster related in conditions, are you saying the gun was put back in the holster and maybe a strap or a part of a belt or something kind of snagged it upon like reholstering?
the sad part is that's case by case basis.
Right.
You have, let's say, and I hate throwing out just random numbers, but you have 100 cases of this happening, going to court. This for a police officer, this is a big deal. You have a gun go off. If you are the cause of the gun, you are looking at possible charges, disciplinary action through your department, being in trouble.
Right.
So, you see it time and time again. Something happens. Oop, it's the gun fault. It's not mine. Agreed.
Right.
But if these guns were going off just sitting on a shelf, I think you would have a bigger problem. And don't get me wrong, I'm not defending SIG. I'm not going after any other firearms manufacturer because realistically, at the end of the day, I use the 320 and SIGs for work. Most of my carry gun is staccatos.
Yes.
I also own Glocks. I own FNs. I own um 320, not 320s,
You
Right.
think?
which is about the furthest thing. The only thing that this thing shares with the other 320 is, I guess, in essence, it was a 320
Right.
with a ton of agency stuff to it.
Right.
So yes, and it even has the fun trigger dongle.
Yeah,
It's Glock-esque as you would.
yeah, and that's my take on it, and that's kind of what I was telling you earlier on the phone. Is that I was one of the kids in the chat room, Tyler, works with me at DHS, and we were having this conversation earlier because he kind of said what you said. He was like, I don't want to think it's happening, but there's been so many circumstances now where people are saying it has. But my theory on, again, as a Glock hater, for those of you that I see, there's a whole bunch of you that just came in. If you don't watch my videos, I'm kind of a Glock I mean a Sig hater, to be honest. I'm a Glock. If a Glock is doing something better, I'm gonna shine on that. I'm gonna tell you the Sig sucks, right? But the fact that there's 100,000 of these guns sitting in safes and they've never gone off in a safe, they've never gone off in a backpack, they've never gone off in the cabinets at the military where they have armories absolutely full of these, and it's only in a holster on someone's side, kind of does go to his point of a holster issue, or was something caught when reholstering, whether it be keys, especially if like you're a police officer, you got keys hanging by your holster, which is a common spot to put them, or anything along those lines. Like the airman one was kind of the cat out of the bag recently, where it was sitting on a desk, and now we just learned yesterday and today that that's not the case, and
Maybe
that was a
maybe it was not sitting on a
yeah,
desk.
it wasn't sitting on a desk. It was pulled by someone's finger. So I don't know. As much as I dislike, I don't dislike SIGs for any reason. I'm just like a Glock lover. But I kind of think it's bullshit, and I think that this isn't really a thing. And these are probably 4 or 5 negligent discharges that these people were either instructors or very big social media backgrounds, and they are using the "it went off by itself" to almost protect their reputation.
So being said too, being a police officer does not make you a gun guy.
Right.
As much as every cop, as soon as you get your badge, you're a black belt in whatever martial art you decide. You're a gun guy. You know, like the Matrix movie with Keanu Reeves, and there's just walls of guns. It's not that way.
Right.
So I can tell you, I've seen on different ranges. I've seen negligent discharges. I've seen people almost shoot their foot with an AR because they didn't put it on safe, even though that's one of the biggest instructions that we have. You know, the safe handling of firearms seems to be, police are not infallible when it comes to that.
Right.
It's something that every trainer and every firearms instructor would love to see 100% safe handling. We run our ranges in ways that we go to the lowest common denominator. You have a guy who's not very gun savvy, you don't train him to do tier one stuff. You just don't.
Right.
You try to make them better. That's what the instruction is there for.
No, that makes perfect sense. And then another thing for those of you guys that just came in, like I seen a bunch of you came in before the after the beginning chat, is that I was on FaceTime with Chris what 2 3 nights ago, and
Yep.
we pulled out about 7 of his SIGs and put pressure on the trigger, trying to replicate that video that went viral, and we were putting pressure well beyond where they were even putting it. Like they had a measurement. We were beyond the wall, like a millimeter was pulling the trigger, and we did that with 5 or 6 of his P320s. And by just touching the top like this, we weren't able to replicate the problem. We were able to get the, like a something to move, or move something internally, but that was, we'd have to kind of pull the slide back a good bit, and that happened on the Glock and stuff as well. So that's not what they were showing in the video. They were literally taking a firearm. Give me one sec, I'll show you. So the video I seen that went viral is the guy put some pressure on the trigger and literally just went like this and gave it a tiny little push right here, and it went off. And then another guy went on and did a video after him and said, "Hey, here's mine, look," and it went off again, just by doing a touch right here. And I mean, we put a lot of pressure on this. I mean, I'm past the wall. I mean, the wall's here. I'm coming past the wall, and we were squeezing it and smacking it and everything else, and we couldn't get that to happen. So if there is an issue where it's happening, it's an extremely small number. But again, it's just odd that it's happening the way it is. Where I don't know. I just feel like again that it's bullshit. It's NDs and it's their way to cover up an ND.
Also having the internal parts. I know we were talking throughout the week of different processes, getting stuff. What happened with 2019 and COVID? Pretty much most of the world's industry was just screeching halt.
Right.
Seeing more and more firearms getting detonated from ammunition, whether it's SIGs, Glocks. I've actually seen a couple staccatos get blown up by ammunition. I think one of the worst ones was watching a brand new XC on the first magazine tear the barrel and the slide right up.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of hurt if that was me.
Right. And that's another point too. There, like you're talking worst. Many people, whether you're police or whatever, unless you're at the range all the time and you're constantly, for instance, I go to the range. I try to go once a week. I've been slacking, but if I go once a week and I burn 300 to 500 rounds, I'm buying new ammo. I'm restocking. I'm going again. Now, like Ty just said in chat, which makes perfect sense, is that I'm sorry, Ty didn't say that. Taprack said that, and that's kind of what I was just going to get into. A lot of these guys, especially law enforcement, which Chris can agree, 85% of law enforcement guys don't train the way they should, and the ammo kind of sits. This is all ammo from COVID, and COVID ammo from 2 3 years ago. I mean, even a car, you bought an $80,000 car and shit was falling out of it because the QC and everything just sucked. So how are we so unsure that this isn't an ammo thing? The SIG P320 was one of the fastest and most sold guns of that time because they came out with the control group that could be basically put wherever you want into any system without needing to go through paperwork because they put the serial on the control group. So you had mass sales of these things, but it's very also more likely to me that this could be an ammo issue because, like he had just said, a Staccato XC blew up. You're gonna tell me that a Staccato XC didn't go through QC checks before it was sold?
I
Like
mean, you're buying a 3,000-ish dollar gun.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that that's kind of BS, and I will say that uh, I don't know. I think it's deeper than a Sig having an issue. I really do. And the fact that we couldn't replicate it, and yes, we only used 5 or 6 pistols, but
Out of a selection size that's 0.00002,
right,
maybe 0.01, like it's negligible.
exactly, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. It just doesn't make sense. Uh,
But that on the other hand, having multiple cases of it, if there is an issue, get it sorted out.
correct, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Like, are well, that's the catch 22 there. They probably don't want to say there's an issue when it's not a confirmed issue, but at the same time, the people want to hear there's an issue. Let's fix it. You know what I mean?
Correct. I now granted when
I
Sig
gotta
did
grab
their
a battery. You can keep talking. My mouse is dying on me.
when Sig did their drop test and had that happen, and the voluntary recall wasn't the warm and fuzzy thing that everybody was hoping that it would be. That if there is a problem with a pistol, do the recall, get fixed once done. Understanding that the testing does not usually count for dropping at every angle, and that you would have to drop that gun specifically at a very specific angle at a very specific height.
Okay. What were you explaining there?
The voluntary recall for the drop safety on the SIGs.
Okay.
So, and there have been papers released on SIG that, you know, through processes, through internal safeties having issues, that it could be a possibility that they could go off if dropped, or could be off if could go off if jostled.
Right. Yeah, I could. I get that. And but that wasn't. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. What are they going to say? Hey, we have an issue, but we don't know what it is, or we don't know what we're going to replace for you because you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have a problem with like had to have been early 2000s. Glock released their 40 line.
Yep.
They were having issues with the whole thing detonating because it was basically just a bored out 9mm. You know, they totally redesigned it, re-released it,
Yeah.
so much so that the Gen 5 40 caliber Glocks do not fit in the 9mm holsters.
Valid. Yeah, like I said, I just think it's I think it's BS. I'm I'm on the cusp of it's not real. And until I see actual proof, I'm yet to see a video where you actually see the gun go off too. Um it's always you can hear it going off, but it's never in complete sight.
There's a couple of them out there that they're on there. A lot of them are police departments. One of the latest ones that was released was the SRO getting into the car, removes the backpack off of the right hand shoulder. Backpack goes in front of the gun, covers the gun, gun goes off.
Okay.
I don't have anything pulled up on that. I don't have dates, times, locations, anything like that.
Right.
Just kind of a loose watching that happen and going, that's not a really good look.
Right. Uh,
That sounds bad.
Again, as a police officer, you have your gun go off when you shouldn't, when there's no trigger pull, when there's, you know, no external stimulus requiring it to, and it's a bad day.
yeah, I agree. So Tap Rack Ty said even if it's 1 in 100,000, but just like you would want to have the confidence that your gun will go bang when you need it to, you would want it to not go bang when you don't want it to. So
100% agree.
so yeah, I would
Agreed.
agree with that even if it is 1 in 100,000, that's definitely one too many. But I'm I'm really and I'm actually just starting this theory 10 minutes ago. I wasn't even thinking about this shit yesterday until you brought up the whole quality control COVID thing. I'm convinced that this might be an ammo thing.
Yeah, but so here's the hard part, right? Like investigating stuff, pulling apart the guns, figuring out what went wrong, pulling, which holster are they using? I could understand if it was just and I'm not poking fun at any holster companies. If this only happens in a safari land, maybe it's that. But I've heard reports of the new alien gear, of Safari Land, of Kydex holsters, stuff like that happening.
Right.
So to sit there and go, okay, so it's across the board. So it's not just the, ABC holster does this.
Yeah.
So, hey, ABC holster may have an issue. Also hearing about, and again, please, not every police guy is a gun guy, having people use different model holsters, a holster for a Beretta and put their 320 in it, and it fits to an extent.
Right. Which is what a lot of people that aren't gun guys do because they don't want to go spend money on additional holsters. If it semi fits, they just kind of run with it.
I have a closet of holsters, literally a closet, and just boxes of holsters for guns that I have, and probably guns that I don't have anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
To backtrack on your ammo, saying that it's a bunch of duds, wouldn't that mean every other gun would be going off doing the same thing, not just the P320?
Yes, and that's kind of what I was just brought up with Benson because he was just saying that a staccato XC went off, and
When
had
that
it.
went off, it detonated.
Okay,
So
so he had one
you're
detonate.
you're
Okay.
talking about two different issues. Now you're having the uncommanded discharge where the gun, just like this, sitting on the table, goes bang.
Okay.
No input, no nothing like that. The other option is, and I know you were sending me pictures for a while of 320s that were blowing up.
Yeah.
So, and I'd shoot you pictures of Glocks that were blowing up, and I
Yeah,
know we
and
shared the
it
one
was,
of the
and we
Staccato
also
blowing
seen
up.
we seen the that viral of the FN 10 millimeter that exploded when the FN
Yep.
10 just dropped, and a guy took one out, shot it, and it literally fucking exploded. So yes, I guess Chris has a point there that yeah, if it was ammo related, I guess you're anti sig too, but yeah, I guess if it's ammo related, there would be Glocks and shit going off in holsters too, but we know Glocks would never have an issue like that. It's just not possible.
No, no, not like early '90s
Yeah,
issues,
no,
right?
we're not talking. We're
No,
talking
no,
about
no,
Gen
no, no,
5.
no.
We're talking about Gen 5s only. We're not talking about anything in the past. We're talking about current affairs, current events.
Oh, okay, okay.
But yeah, that you do have a point there. But that's where I'm getting at, where you bring up another point about holsters, and it's like it's not a specific holster, and it's like it just doesn't make sense because it's not going off in a holster that's in a gun safe, or tons of them that are sitting in an armory case or in a cabinet, or it just doesn't make sense that it's only happening in a holster on somebody. You know what I mean?
Which again, is this related to tolerances from machining and manufacturing? Is this parts used in? Because you can't tell me that this entire gun was produced in Oregon or New
Right.
Hampshire by
Yeah.
SIG in the same factory.
Yeah. Especially during COVID.
Like almost every company out there is going to outsource for springs and levers and something. Some company somewhere is making all the little springs that each spring is probably made by a company or other companies in that gun.
Right.
So if your quality control for the parts that you are not manufacturing are bad, I can see issues with that. But you would think that if you had a gun that could go off in a holster and you have one, you'd be able to recreate that problem. It's a machine.
Yeah, I get that. So
If you're talking about a Warren Sear, and there are 320s out there with thousands and thousands of rounds through it.
yeah. So to sum up this conversation, I'll start with you, Messina, just because you've been more quiet, obviously, with the Sig stuff.
Good.
Um, I know you don't own a P320, but you do have some X macros and 365s and stuff. And
Correct.
with what we discussed just now, and like with what's been going on, what is your honest thought, and what do you think is the logical issue? Do you think it's a parts thing, an ammo thing, a user error that they're trying to cover up their reputation? What's your take? You could just break it down in like 30 seconds as like an end debate.
All in a nutshell, I'm going with user error.
Okay.
Um, like Benson said, most of the like his department uses the P320s, and not all cops or not all people are gun people.
Right.
I think it's user error. I think somebody who doesn't train, actively use, actively shoot, I think they're just fucking up and
Okay.
discharging.
Yeah, and so you're
That's my
thinking
take.
ND, and it's like, hey, I've been a firearms instructor for 20 years. If Instagram finds out that I just pulled the trigger by accident, I'm never gonna have another student.
Correct.
All right, that's kind of where I've been all along, up until the Air Force thing happened, until I found out yesterday that it wasn't real.
I also feel like with that, they're just adding that into the fire. I think it was another user error, and it was a P320, and I think that was the airman's thing, was that his gun went off. It's a P320. It's
Yeah.
in my theory. I mean,
Right.
I could dig down some fucking rabbit holes with conspiracy theories, but we won't get into all that.
All right. Valid. All right. My theory is I'm in the same theory as you. A lot of people in the chat are kind of saying the same thing. They think it's user issues. A couple think it's Sig shit, and I agree with them. What?
It's a company. Sig is a PR company that makes guns. Let's
Yeah,
just go with that.
yeah. So yeah. My theory though, I do as much as I would like to knock Sig to make Glock look better. I think that this is not true, and I think they are 100% negligent issues or user issues. Maybe it's not finger on the trigger, but it's something got caught reholstering, or I don't think the guns are just going off. I don't, and so much so that I bought a 320. I'm actually picking it up tomorrow. So
So, so brave.
yeah, so I'm gonna load it up
So,
and put
so
it in my
here's my next
safe with a
question:
steel plate in front of it, and leave
Are
it
you
there
going to
for a few
appendix
weeks.
carry it?
What's that?
Are you going to appendix carry it?
No. No, I'm not gonna. I'm probably not gonna carry it at all. No, I'm gonna take it to the range. I'm gonna put rounds through it. I'm gonna order a couple blanks and put blanks in it, and I'll record myself with the blanks. Uh, so, Ty that works at DHS with me just wrote in the comments, and he said, "Just don't bring it to work, brother." So, I take it he's still on the side of he doesn't trust SIGs. And again, where there's fuel, there's fire. There really hasn't been anything to put it out yet. And his argument, which I do totally agree with, is that you as a SIG guy have said the same thing to me in our phone calls. It's too often now to not be a little concerned, regardless if we think it's
100%.
an ND, and that's kind of where he is. And I can tell you he EDCs a P365 macro. He's not an anti-SIG guy by any means, but the fact that, like we said, it's too many issues to not stop and look at it. But I
But
am
again,
gonna pick one up, load it, put it in the safe, and see if a round comes through the safe or not.
this is the best thing: is if there is an issue, you find it out. Like there are plenty of people out there who manufacture stuff. You know, the CAD drawings for the 320 were recently released by a vendor. So I would hope that engineers, guys who are very familiar with AutoCAD, would go through, look at tolerances, maybe find out something that SIG is missing, if they are missing anything, or is this just any gun that goes off is ammunition for, like bad gun. Oh, that Glock went off in the holster, bad gun. No, no investigation, no nothing. And I get it. The thing came out with the airmen. I can tell you, I was on the phone with my administration going, hey, we got to evaluate stuff.
Right.
I when there is a loss of life, when there is a fuck up, there is huge ramifications that happen with that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm torn because there have been instances, there have been stuff that is not able to be explained. Yet there needs to be.
Right.
Let's talk one of the most famous rifles in history, the Remington 700, had the issue where you could set it down and it would fire on a table
Yep.
uncommanded. Many videos of that.
Right. No,
Redesigned,
you're right.
recalled, fixed. So if there is an issue, I'm hoping that SIG will get out in front of the issue. If there isn't an issue, then figure out what the deficiency is. Whether it's training, whether it's, one of the things is unloaded, no mag, very nice light trigger pull. The whole NYPD thing of having the, oh, God forbid, 16-pound trigger.
Yeah. And then they realized that wasn't a Glock issue. That was a cop issue.
That was a training issue,
Yeah.
and for the first time in 20 years, they've transitioned away from that, and NYPD guys are using 5.5 Glock triggers.
Can you imagine you're NYPD, right? You're in an alleyway. You got a guy that's like 40 yards away, 35 yards away shooting at you, and you're trying to clap him with an 18-pound trigger.
I've seen some guys shoot that 16, the 12 to 16 and 18 pound trigger phenomenally. By the way,
Ooh, yeah. So they're probably loving going back to the fives then. They look like John Wick with the five. I couldn't imagine pulling a fucking 17, 16 pound trigger.
I think I have one of the NYPD triggers in the safe. Next time you're up here, we'll go to the range with it.
Yeah, I gotta just see what we can do with that then, because that's 16 pounds is fucking insane. Hey, they were 16, not 18. Was it 16 or 18?
I forget what they
Yeah,
were.
it was
I know
16 or 18.
they
You're right.
had multiple ones. They
Yeah,
had it's been a minute since I've been to a Glock armor class, and they talk about putting in the different color trigger springs in the back. But
yeah. Um. So, oh yeah. 30-second summary. What was your take? Like we just said. ND issue with the gun, ammo issue, user issue only.
I'm thinking you're going to have a combination. I'm thinking it's going to be uh, less than stellar parts. You know, I'd hate to coin something as like a COVID, COVID industry, but I also think it's kind of a mixed bag on what you get.
Right.
And the sad part is it is a case by case basis.
No, that's valid. I can agree with that. I mean, like I said, um, it's the same thing with the car business. If you bought a car in 2020 to 2022, it's significantly more problematic than any other one because of quality control and parts and rushing everything out. And
Well, if you got a 2020, it sat in a field without a CPU for I don't know 8 months to a year.
yeah, so you're gonna have some mice electric issues going on and everything else. So
Yep.
I I get all that. That's someone just. Oh, thanks for becoming a channel member, brother.
No problem.
Yeah, it's giving you a whole bunch of music right now. I promise. It won't be quiet. There we go. Okay, now I can hear you again. Whenever someone becomes a member, it plays very loud, like jazz music in my ear.
Is it soothing
Perfect.
jazz music?
No. No, someone else did it.
And the technical difficulties
Okay,
continue.
there we go. Ugh. Appreciate the membership. Appreciate the membership to both of you. If you are not a member, please feel free to click join, and you will be able to jump on these podcasts and chat with us. You will also get early access to all the videos that we post, and you will also be put into all of our giveaways that we get from our sponsors. The fan fun button that you just clicked right there is exactly how you would do that. Uh, Nick Mastrella, welcome. Oh, that's Nick from Goon Chat. I was like, well, who? What do you mean it was you? Welcome. Yes, if you click join where it says subscribe, you can click join and become a member. I believe it's $2.99 to $9.99 a month. So if you guys want to support your boy for $9.99 a month, you probably spend a lot more than that in Dunkin' Donuts, and Dunkin' Donuts doesn't even like you guys. So, and they're
No,
definitely
they
not.
spit in my
For the
coffee
low
every day.
cost of $2.99,
Yeah.
you could help a starving South Carolina.
Yeah, for the low cost of $9.99 a month, you can help a guy that moved south from New York to try and buy more guns so he can make videos of them and then give Tap Rack Ty gas money to come to the range with me to help me film them like we did last week, okay? So, yeah, click that join button. It's $9.99. It's way just you're not going to get coffee tomorrow or Sunday anyway. It's the fucking weekend.
There goes my Starbucks for the week,
Uh,
or at least Monday.
yeah. With what I was just saying being said, Tap Rack Ty, are you still in here? Are you still in the chat? There's 27 people in here, and I don't know who's who. I don't know why it's usually it'd give me an activity, but for some reason it's not telling me who's actually in the chat. Okay, that's a great question for Chris because he is a SIG armor, a Glock armor, carries the SIG at work, and is a SIG fanatic, and he has multiple SIGs, so I'm gonna read that out to him. You ready for this? we
Sure.
kind of just broke this down, but this is someone that just joined and said he had a question. So I'm going to read this question to you because it's kind of what we were talking about. He said, "So all these people jamming screws in the trigger, then blaming the gun is crazy."
I have a hard time believing that you're going to pull the trigger, however slight, and say, as soon as this trigger starts moving, you have safeties being disengaged. So you have safeties being disengaged. You put it all the way back, and then you try to find an issue. Moving the trigger is moving the trigger.
Right.
This isn't, this isn't a single action, a double action single. This is a striker fire gun. They operate completely different. As soon as that trigger starts to get moved, you're taking up slack. As soon as you start feeling I need resistance, and that's not even at the wall yet, you are disengaging safeties. So if you want to, jam a screw in here and disengage the safeties and go, hey, I can get this to fire without actually completely pulling the safety, I think you're defeating. I think you're causing more issues than not.
Now, I was thinking this today, and I'm going to run it by you. If you weren't in here a few minutes ago, which I know you weren't because it said you had just joined, we took 6 of his P320s last week on FaceTime, and we could not get him to duplicate doing something like that. Same thing with a Glock here. If I take this Glock and this is obviously triple check that it's empty, no mag, and I pull this trigger all the way back to the wall and then come a little past the wall, all they were doing is going like this and getting it to fire. We tried that on numerous guns, including 6 of his P320s, and we couldn't get anything to happen unless we kind of went like this and actually moved it back. In which point, if you're moving it back, like he was just saying, you're disengaging this, like you're moving this down, so you're kind of the safety's obviously not going to work the way it's supposed to because you just took it up. You manipulated the trigger to get it to happen. So if you have to manipulate this to get this to fire, then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of it going boom on its own. That's my take on that.
Now, if you're showing me stuff being pulled without a trigger pull, completely different. And I know there's a whole ton of videos because the 320 is the hottest topic out in the interwebs right now. Pretty much 99% of my video footage is SIGs.
Yeah, and I could tell you you and I have been talking about this almost every single day on the phone. And I am at the point, this is going to sound crazy, and yes, I am a conspiracy theorist, but I am also, I'm kind of at the point that I truly think that this guy may have did something internally to get that to go off for the clout of knowing that that video was going to go viral, which it did, and it drew millions of views, which means I'm a YouTuber, I'm monetized, I know what views get you. If he's at 3 million views, he made a good $6,000-7,000 off that video so far. So it's very likely that he could have did something to make that happen just for the views.
I, I don't think he would so much, like make it. Now, granted, like this is one of those things. I have no access to the guns. I have no access to that. Like I understand the process of what he was doing, but do I think he was? Do I think he modified the gun? I don't think so.
So you do think it was completely stock and that so what are you thinking caused that? Just the fact that he was manipulating the trigger and basically
And
eliminating the safety features.
I'm not an engineer. I'm not gonna even pretend like I can look at the internals of most of these guns and I'm like, wow. Like for me, like being the type of guy I am, like being a car guy, being a gun guy, like it fascinates me.
Yeah.
You know, could it be warm parts? Could it be, the one in they were talking like, hey, one in every 10,000 guns is an issue.
Right.
Like, do I think it could be one of those? I don't know. I don't really have the answers. He could get it to happen almost every time with the trigger pulled, whether it is, and the one thing I do see about SIGs, and Glock does the same thing, and most companies do, where SIG will have like, hey, we released this 320. and here's a 2.1, a 2.11, a 2.12, a 2.113, and you will see differences throughout the years of manufacturing.
Right.
Could it
That's
be something that they were like, "Hey, we see this. This is an issue. Well, hey, we redid this. This is tooled up different, and it's good to go now. It's not an issue."
yeah.
It's a possibility. I don't know, and I try not to say stuff that I don't know. Like, is it certain that that gun is stock? I would assume so. You know, he's been in the gun. You know, Wyoming Guns has been in the scene for a long time.
Valid.
You know, I couldn't tell you if it was or wasn't, but I would lean towards it's not modified. You know, seeing as you know, I have SIGs with. I think this one was just brought to a class recently, so it maybe has 1,000 rounds through it. Um, this one I've changed out springs, so I think it's got 12,000 through it, maybe 13, somewhere around there. So these are completely, you know, is a new gun going to operate any different than an old gun? Oh yeah, they definitely do.
Right.
You know, I put rounds through a staccato and it feels better and better every day.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's mechanical parts and metal. It's gonna have wear and tear. Like you can't. There's nothing you can do about that.
Yep, metal on metal. You find parts that break. You know, that's being an armor, seeing, you know, seeing the Gen 3 Glocks when my department had them, and we were finding, you know, broken guide rods and stuff like that almost on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But guns that were 10 years old that probably were well beyond their lifespan.
Right. And he also just said he also notices that a lot of multiple agencies are still carrying them, including his. He's in Puerto Rico on vacation. Puerto Rico's carrying SIGs. I know your agency is. You were discussing them, but you are still carrying them as of now, right?
Yep.
And any thought that that's going to change anytime soon, or not really enough data to change?
You talk so again, it all comes down to the sad part about policing is it comes down to liability. If there's a problem with it, we will discontinue. I don't have enough to sit there and go, yes, there's a definitive problem to sit there and go, we're scrapping everything else for, you know, X.
Right. Now,
So
would you hope that there was, so you'd be able to get a Glock?
uh my lieutenant keeps telling me on a daily basis there's no way we're getting staccatos for the department. So
So, all right, all right. Um, got there.
not for everybody at least.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we just hit 50 some minutes, so I'm gonna kind of sum this up so I don't uh overdo it on you guys. There's some ads running, and if anyone in here has a question or anything that they want to see, I'm gonna let this run for like 9 more minutes, and then we'll call it at an hour. So, any of you guys in here, for one, I appreciate all you guys jumping in. Most of you guys have been in here since the start, and there's 37 of you hanging out in here with a total of 70 that have been in and out. So appreciate you guys swinging by. And if any of you guys have a question for either of us in this chat, drop it now and we will answer it before we move on. If there's something you want to see, if there's something you want explained, if there's a question you have, even if it doesn't pertain to the P320, it pertains to an AR-15 or a staccato or whatever, just open forum for the next 6-7 minutes. Feel free. I know yeah, that's kind of where we're all at. We're kind of it's just more people saying that they're skeptical that they're just firing without some sort of reason, which is kind of what we've beaten on, and we kind of all agree. Like I said, as someone that's like the back, so like I said, sorry to all you guys. Question, feel free to drop it pertaining to P320 or something else. For anyone in here, feel free. The guy in the middle right there that says Messina, if you have anything related to shooting a deer, Ask that while he's in here because he can
I'm
definitely
literally looking at all my camera photos
he
from
can
the past
definitely help you
30
with some
minutes.
hunting stuff. If it's gun related, we got you too. So yeah. Uh,
Serious shit when you got a 145 10 pointer running around.
oh,
Going through all the trail cam footage, right?
There, you just watching my eyes beaming around. It's been 4 days since my big guy has shown up. He's been gone for 4 days,
Is he
freaking
still
out.
is he still out during the daytime or is he nighttime now?
No, it was a daytime shot.
Ooh, nice. We got a couple months before they're completely nocturnal.
I know. October 1st at like 12:01, they go
Yep,
completely nocturnal.
so you're saying we need thermals?
night vision and
All
thermals.
right, PVS
Yeah.
14s, got it. Can you imagine dropping like 10K, 15K on dual tubes just to go hunt at night?
If I could hunt legally at night, I would.
Yeah,
Then I would find nods completely worth it.
yeah.
To go shoot a coyote, no.
Valid.
Coyote's good enough with a red filter on any of the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Though I
that's
will
just a
say
red
it was
flashlight
fun as
and
shit when we
send it.
did that hog hunt with the thermals.
That was fun.
That is
Uh,
That was
definitely on
fun.
the bucket
you
list.
got. I was gonna say you should come down at the end. I think it's like September, October. We went. I'd have to.
No, I think it was the end of August.
Was it August?
No, bro, it was like April
I don't remember.
because like it was April because January, February, March, April. Yeah, it was April because in May I found out that we were having Mila. It was literally when I left to go down,
Yeah, you might be right.
I came back and found out that my wife was pregnant.
I
Okay.
still know on the bucket list I want to do a helicopter hog hunt.
The helicopter. Here's the thing. The helicopter ones are cool, but they're like 15K.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like and that was the problem. I went down to Texas and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look into this, and it's like, yeah, this is 12 grand. I'm like, all right.
We're good.
Yeah, the one we did was obviously nighttime thermals out in fields. But the coolest part about it is that they had a old Hummer H2 and they had thermal cameras all over the top of it, like on the roof. So as you sat in the Hummer, you had like mini TVs that showed the thermals of everything outside. So and then we were running AR-15s, but they were 7.62 by 39s, so AK cartridge out of the ARs. So you had an AR, a decent thermal, the thermals on the outside, and then dude, that was fun as
Also, our
shit
thermal
though.
scopes.
Yeah, and so me and Chris are in like a tower hut, and we got a big pile of food, probably I don't know.
500 pounds of sweet potatoes.
Yeah, about 500 pounds of sweet potatoes, 100 yards in front of us, maybe a little less, a little more, right around 100 yards probably, and
Yeah.
yeah, the guide didn't know what the hell he was talking about, so
Don't
he
even get me
became
going on the
he
fucking
became
guide.
my guide. The guide's like, yeah, they're gonna come out over here behind you. He goes, no, they're not. They're gonna come out down there. About 2 hours later, they start coming out from down there where he said they were gonna come out of, and I shot him once, and he made a noise. So I shot him about 17 more times, and yeah, we picked him up and got him back to the place where they hung him and like gutted him out and shit. And he's like, "Oh, this guy's been shot a lot before. He's a tough one." I was like, "Yeah, wasn't me."
They did say if they squirm, squeal, move, to
Hit him
just
again.
keep shooting
Yeah, so I was like, "Okay."
until they stop moving.
And I mag dumped about 16 rounds into his chest.
And he stopped moving.
And he definitely stopped moving after that one. He moved once.
Accuracy
Yeah,
through volume.
yeah. He made a noise, and I was like, hmm. I will say I have the video footage of it though. It dropped. The first round dropped him instant. I mean, he instantly fell over, but then he was like making some movements and some noise. So I didn't want to have him suffer, so I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, sure.
Oh man.
That was a fun night though.
All right, I got one question. We're gonna keep this to 30 seconds, answers max, and then I'm logging off. Uh, so would like 4G? Hold on, I got a couple questions. My bad. So would like 4Gs for nods be okay? If you wanted nods for 4Gs, you're probably just gonna get some like PVS 14s, like Omni tubes. Um, you'll probably get. You could probably still pick white, green, blue, but probably PVS 14s, maybe dual sevens. I would probably do a really good 14 and then save a little more for another 14. If he actually has a pair of 14s for 4K, that's a really good deal. And take into account though, which is something me and Chris talk about a lot, that once you buy the nods, you're still not done though. You need a helmet, you need a mount system, so you're talking another easily $500 for that, unless you already have a helmet. And then,
Battery backup,
yeah,
stuff on your guns.
yeah, and then the other big part is you're going to spend minimum $1,500 for a laser for your gun, because I mean, yes, you can go on Amazon and buy some junk, but if you're going to get nods, get a PEC 14, PEC 15, a Maul, something that's actually going to be good.
Diner, any of the
Yeah,
there's
something
a ton of them
reputable.
out there.
But you're going to spend at least 1,500 to 4K on a good laser system as well. And then also, if your optic is not set up for that, like if you have an optic that's not NV capable, like the
So you're running an
EXPS2 verse
EOTech.
3,
Yeah.
right? You're going to want to make sure that yes, the 2 can be used under nods, but it's not nearly as good as a 3 that has an NV setting. So you're going to have to get a little more than just the nods, which is why some people ripe at it. Um, yeah, exactly. You need the whole package. Second question from Micus. Um, very simple. I'll let each of you go first because mine's obvious. I do 19 videos on it a week. What is your everyday carry pistol and why? So Messina, I'll let you go first. What's your everyday carry? What do you carry every day, and why do you carry said pistol?
I carry a Staccato C. Why? I don't know.
Is it the
No, I do
staccato?
know. It's a Staccato. I've shot a lot of stuff. I got my macro comp. I've got my Glock 19. I've got plenty of stuff. Shooting that is was hands down. It just came natural. I didn't really have to try. It just shot and placement was amazing. And since then, I've just been hooked on it. I still love my macro, but that kind of stole the cake with how simplicity my shooting was
Yeah.
and the accuracy. Like, oh, everything about it. It's a Staccato. That's all you ever really say.
And what was on that? It looked like a Steiner MPS.
Steiner MPS.
Okay.
Yes,
So enclosed emitter. Um,
enclosed.
I did notice no light.
No. So I know I've told you guys both about my light theory. Because of the bump in the night, I grabbed my gun, the macro. I walked around my house, turned the light on. I was shining corners, and I was talking to somebody, and he's like, "Yo, like if you do that, you're pretty much flashing somebody with your gun, and they can use that against you, and you could lose everything." So I was like, you know what? Valid, yeah. So now I carry no light on my Staccato, my everyday, and I carry my where's my flashlight?
And
I don't know where it is.
caveat to that, guys. He is in New York State with in not active law enforcement. Therefore, in New York State, it's not a castle doctrine state or anything like that by any means. So if someone's in your yard, if someone breaks in your house, you can't shoot them. You got to run away. So the light theory. I know you said that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense because he's in New York. So it's different than down in the South or freedom states. But in New York, it would definitely be brandishing a firearm. Even if the guy was on his property, he would probably get in
Yeah,
trouble
he could
for
be
it.
in my
Yeah, if
doors,
the guy's
and
in his
I'm
garage
getting
and
in
he walks
trouble.
out there, he's still going to get into some shit. So that's a
Yeah,
state by
I'm
state
getting
basis
arrested, and
things.
he's getting
Yeah.
slapped on the wrist and sent down.
Okay. So staccato. That was the 2024C with a Steiner MPS.
2024C.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, Chris number two.
I rotate, you know that. I don't have, I believe that you should be proficient with a lot, not just expert at one. Um, I go back and forth between a Staccato C2 with a light and a Trijicon RMR or RCR. I also go back to a Glock with an RMR, a Glock
Good man.
45 with an
Very good
RMR
man. Yes.
because
Yep.
I've,
Because there's
I've had
nothing
that
better.
gun
Yep. We
forever.
get it. We get it.
Um, I also carry a SIG 365 when it's hot out. Like that's my summer gun.
Yep.
So whether I carry it around in a backpack on me, whether I can hide it underneath the coat, or I need something just to tuck in when I'm wearing gym shorts and running out. So there is no like best. Like I don't pick one and like, hey, this is it. This is my final.
Yep. Valid.
I can agree with that.
Same thing. I'm not gonna pull them out because you guys have seen them in videos, but to the gentleman that was curious, during 99% of the time, I carry a Glock 47 MOS, with an SRO and a Surefire X300. If I'm not carrying that, I carry I bounce between an HD or a macro, the X macro comp. One has an aim point, one has the EPS carry. Both have a TLR 7 sub just because I keep them a little shorter for the summer reasons, like he was just saying. If it's hot out, if I'm at the gym, something like that, I can just throw in a little. 945 Industries as well as Blue Force Gear are two of the channel sponsors, and they make bags like fanny packs, and I can kind of just throw it in that fanny pack and bring it to the gym and simple. But most of the time, if I'm carrying a gun actually on my hip or appendix carry, it's the Glock 47. Just because there's nothing in the world better than Glock, which Chris just stated, and yeah.
Did I know?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that's what you said. But that's it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up and let these guys go. We've been chatting for a little over an hour. I appreciate the 133 of you that came to visit us. I appreciate the couple of you that became members to the channel. And yeah, thank you two for coming and chatting.
Absolutely.
With that being said, I will see you all on the next video, and I hope you have a great weekend.